an idiot from the past needs a beating. You know, I've actually been recovering a bit. Not after that bad dinner I ate, but a while back. But but from a movie I had to watch that's pretty much worse than Uwe Boll. I said it, worse than Uwe Boll. I'm talking about these parody movies. And I just happen to be subject to these parody movies. And the one in particular I'm talking about is Meet the Spartans. However, as sick as I was, I mean, I just had to base. This just happened to make it worse. Meet the Spartans is among one of these movies that becomes the new norm for really bad parodies that you would actually find in theaters. Particularly released in the dump months of January, February, and occasionally August, which has also become a recent dump month. They're frequently called the movie movies. They're not really any parody of any movie or genre that people that's really popular and has been enjoyed, but whatever is popular at the time. They just throw in a bunch of references that don't even make sense. In their mind, it will only count if it's popular at that particular time. By the infamous parody duo Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer, also known as Seltzerberg, which have pretty much become the black sheep of horrible comedic writing in the film business. Something people would just like for a short time and then forget as a few years go by. I mean, they're just so badly done they won't even pass for an SNL sketch. In fact, that's what it often looks like, a really badly done late night TV sketch. It's like they saw early trailers from whatever movie was going to be out at the time they planned to release it, and they said, hey, let's make cheap costumes and make it look like that. And this is where I'm reviewing Meet the Spartans in particular. See, up until I saw this movie, Soul Plane was by far the worst movie I'd ever seen. Until I saw this. Meet the Spartans with one of my friends from high school, because with a group of friends from high school, because we were apparently with a girl in our group whose parents were very, very strict about R-rated movies, okay? So we wanted to watch 300 and her parents wouldn't allow it. But however, we saw a very similar movie in the ads called Meet the Spartans. And it's absolute suckage. So let's dive in. So of course we open up with the ancient Spartan practice of eugenics by the elders expecting the baby, and the first one he happens to come across is a Shrek baby.
Are you my mama? Cause I'm ready to suckle a teat.
And believe me, this is the format of Seltzerberg. Gross out humors with obsession of bodily fluids. Peppered throughout, not just Meet the Spartans, but all of their flicks. And he comes across a few more babies until he finds our hero Leonidas, who in his infant form already has a fully grown beard, biceps, and six-pack. So, with that in mind, we are now shown Leonidas' training of being a Spartan warrior.
He was tortured, taught to show no pain.
Tell me, Mr. Bond, what is the account number?
Who the hell is Mr. Bond? I'm Leonidas.
You're testing my patience, 00.
I am not 00.
And as he's cast out in the woods, we of course see our beast. This time, instead of a wolf, like in 300, it's a penguin. Gee, I wonder what they're trying to pull there. Penguin movies were really popular at the time, so I guess I wonder what they're gonna do.
Man, you've got happy feet.
Oh wow, you obviously thought the audience was so stupid you had to deliberately explain that they were referencing Happy Feet after you showed the reference.
What you laughing at, asswipe? About to shove my happy foot up your ass. I'm about to make you my bitch, Leonidas. Lick my snowballs. That Taco Bell ain't sitting right.
Yeah, this is all that happens! Very immature humor when he says stuff like, lick my snowballs and shits in his face. Dirty wrestling, like your older brother would do to you outside. Taking your hands and saying, quit hitting yourself, quit hitting yourself. Very cheaply done effects later, Leonidas conveniently comes across an emergency spear that's conveniently placed within the rock, breaks it open, and defeats the Happy Feet penguin. And with the penguin slain, and he turns it into a hat and returns to Sparta. People congratulate him, and of course, we are now greeted with Carmen Electra doing a sexy dance in a skanky toga. Yes, Carmen Electra, she's actually a frequently occurring actress in these terrible parody movies, up until the biggest flop of disaster movie that came out. Yes, and Carmen Electra's character is, of course, Queen Margot. And she gives him the opening to her...
The combination to my chastity belt.
Yeah, because all Spartan women wore those back in the days. And so years later, Leonidas has his own son that passed the infant selection process of the elders, who he also trains to be a big, strong Spartan like him. Until we are greeted by the Persian messengers to inform that Xerxes is trying to invade their city-state. Yes, this is another main theme of this particular movie in general. It's littered with gay jokes.
That is how men of Sparta greet one another. High fives for the women, and open mouth tongue kisses for the men.
Because these idiots believe that not only should we use our over obsession of bodily fluids for gross out humors, because we apparently have very serious issues, but let's throw in a bunch of gay jokes that don't make any sense. Leonidas does not take kindly to Xerxes' messengers, and of course, the obvious reason, they throw them into the bottomless pit.
This is madness.
This is Sparta!
Tell Xerxes that Sparta is not for them, so whatever you do, don't kick him into the pit of death.
Yeah. I don't like to have to always count my back for everything. I'm a responsible adult. Look at me, I'm booby feeding my baby.
I'm not kidding. This pit of death goes on for over 5 minutes. And at this point, most people who were suckered into this probably walked out. I was forced to endure this long from beginning to end. And after driving that a horribly unfunny joke into the ground, Leonidas then comes across a bunch of lepers which accept a lot of real-world modern skincare products that are conveniently placed into Leonidas' hand in exchange to see their oracle.
Chose only the most beautiful of Spartan girls to be their oracle.
Ooh, very predictable. Their definition of the beautiful Spartan girls is, of course, Ugly Betty. Ugly Betty then tells Leonidas that if he goes to war with Persia, he will die. But he, of course, ignores such a worthless advice and continues to declare war on Xerxes anyway.
What?
He looks like a Ken doll.
Who took my dick? Leonidas comes home to Margot and explains his plans and telling her that this may be their last night together.
Well, Harry Knowles at Ain't It Cool News says this movie is just a cheap ripoff of 300.
You know, you don't really have any idea how much suck a movie can get when it openly explains that they are a knockoff of 300. And so they go through a mock sex montage when he's really just bench pressing his wife. And here he gathers what he believes is 300 Spartans, which, according to this movie's budget, they can only afford 13.
Damn! He's got a huge package.
I brought you some fudge. Mom said that you liked the pack.
I'm not a fudge packer!
Dude, you don't have to be ashamed or anything.
But I'm not a fudge packer!
Then why are you packing fudge?
And behold the cast of uncreative, simple names.
King Leonidas, this is my son, Sunnyo.
You know, if you happen to name a son Sunnyo, you're very well too stupid to recall him by his actual name, or his name happens to be Hubert and you're just too ashamed to admit it. And so then they march off to fight Xerxes and his Persian army in one of the most unrehearsed gay montages we see. Along their way, they meet a hunchback Paris Hilton who tells them the way to where Xerxes' army is hiding.
It's just been really confusing. I mean, even Tinkerbell's affected by it. She hasn't moved since Saturday.
You know, if she hadn't tweeted about her dog dying a few weeks ago, I would just go on a rant and bring Angel out here. Now would I? Yeah, and they come across the first set of Persians, and then we get a parody of Stomp the Yard.
We are the Spartans. We stomp the yard. Check out our buzz. They are rock hard.
Come on.
You gotta shake your ass.
Let's go.
Yeah, and so after many product placements, they now do more pop culture reference and pointless parodies that have no connection with the film 300 and whatnot.
Today we salute you, Mr. Warmongering latent homosexual. Wearing nothing but leather underwear and a cape, you charge your enemy like an oiled-up hairless wonder. Sure, there's danger. Charging rhinos, stampeding elephants, and that cute toga-wearing guy named Chad.
And how are you going to guess how they're gonna parody shoving them off the cliff?
That's one answer right there.
And this dramatic scene cuts to Xerxes. I wonder they're going to pick for him.
Xerxes. He looked a lot like that fat guy from Borat.
Oh man, I feel really sorry for you for having to voluntarily make a cameo in this terrible parody movie. And having your nipple ripped off and stapled back together.
I tell you, kid, you got balls. I come over here with a big army. We're going to shish kebab your ass.
Before this battle is over, people will know that even a god king can fall.
Listen, Leo, I came here to talk. Just listen to my deal.
Yeah, then we actually get a parody of Deal and No Deal over whether he should hand Sparta over to Persia. Oh my god! This is not the format of a parody movie! This is like something out of a 13-year-old's god-awful internet fan fiction! And so after that, we get into a another pop culture reference, which also includes a Yo Mama fight, which I have to admit is probably the least bad parts of this movie.
Yo mama's so fat that when she farts, Al Gore accuses her of global warming, dog. Get it up!
Yes, well, that may be the case, but your mama's so hairy. The only language she speaks is Wookiee.
Mama is so stupid. She went to Bangkok to get a TIE fighter. Yeah, Luke wins. What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me down.
Then we cut back to Sparta and Queen Margot, who appears to be handing out wine to coming guest, as well as this man, Traitoro. Ooh, I wonder if he's a traitor or not.
That's my urine sample.
Why would anyone keep this piss out there in a cup to hand out to people? God, this movie's fucking stupid! And cut back to Xerxes' cocktail party, and we see Hunchback Paris Hilton come here and to let them know how to beat the Spartans. Man, I'm almost saying the god-awful title of this movie. And as a reward, she has her hump removed. This is the audience that Seltzer believes should exist, and they continue to make money. And as soon as Margot finds out the meaning for Traitoro's true name, she then gets real pissed off to the point that she has to pull off a Spider-Man 3 reference. Again, that movie is not very good. And of course, Traitoro turns into Sandman and actually falls victim to her dust vacuum.
Come and get them! Formation! A Spartan always protects another man's rear.
Yeah, and then as the Spartans are defeated, Leonidas gets so mad they reference Grand Theft Auto. Hell, this is. What does Grand Theft Auto 300 have in common? Oh, never mind, they don't! Yeah, and he also manages to have San Andreas tattooed over his stomach in that time frame. Yeah, and this happens to work for a while until Xerxes goes into a fit of desperation and happens to find a conveniently located Transformer cube, because of course, they just had to bring in the Transformer movies. Even though it's really directed by another god-awful director, who produces very shitty sequels. And he jumps inside this Grand Theft Auto used convertible and transforms into a very cheaply generated Decepticon.
I am Xerxes Tron, equipped with advanced alien technology.
Leave Benny alone!
Ooh, and look, they had to have a viral YouTube video at the time. Xerxes Decepticon seems to be hooked up to an outlet into the rock, and he goes too far to actually pull his plug and shuts off and crushes the Spartans to death. And then we get a very out of place musical number in front of American Idol and of course combination of Dancing with the Stars. And good God, is this despicable! No wonder why parody gets a bad rap nowadays. And this is the end of the nightmare called Meet the Spartans, sorry. I mean, we should have known the warning signs after they released the first scary movie, date movie, and epic movie. And 8 months later, they happened to shit out another really bad parody movie, disaster movie, before going on to Vampires Suck and The Starving Games. And I beg you people, whenever you see something remotely similar to whatever movie is big in the box office at the time, it's obviously the douchebag duo, Aaron Seltzer and Jason Friedberg. Just don't stay away from these movies. Don't give these guys your money. They'll just continue making terrible movies and make lots of money off of them, no matter how bad they're reviewed. Again, this is Marlyonama signing off.
This is